also removed. So Gragas is to follow, and if Ornn will be left open by Trace and even the likes of the Leona, it could still be these options for both EDG and Trace.
Yeah. We'll see if the Leona does get banned. I feel like Leona only really worked because of what EDG had earlier on, because they also had the Tristana on them. Zyra, not the usual bans that we do see, but I do like it as well because it prevents a lot of the engage coming in from Trace Esports. The thing good about Trace Esports composition is that they tend to ball up, and if Zyra being taken out of the equation, it will allow them a bit more freedom and space to ball up and take these team fights against EDG.
This is so smart from EDG. And they could even go for Nautilus, because if they go for Nautilus, they have Nautilus, Aatrox, Hecarim with Sivir into their composition. This is just so good, because when it comes to mobility, when it comes to team fighting, they will be successful out from that, and it will be a balance when it comes to that level 5 onto the early game and middle game. Scaling of this composition is quite significant, so Trace Esports will have a difficult time. So they opted and answered to go for an Ezreal and an Ornn to go into the bottom lane.
Just Ezreal being a bit more of a safer kind of champion, he's able to maneuver this fight. And as you mentioned, Infinity, it seems it's going to be the Nautilus pick here for EDG. EDG is gearing up for a very strong mid to late game team comp, having 2 marksmen in their composition as well as some beefy tank lines. The Nautilus and the Hecarim will provide so much space for the Sivir and the Zeri to play around, and the Aatrox will not be tied down on frontline duties. He can go for flanks. He can try and dive towards the back line of Trace Esports. He can even go and split push. This composition right now the EDG has brought to the table is going to be really strong when it comes to these team fights.
Yeah, and Alone's role for the side of EDG, the Sivir's role into the side of EDG is not really to carry the whole game, but rather to supplement and complement their composition of having Aatrox, Hecarim, Nautilus, and even Zeri at this point that could have huge benefits on the extra movement speed on the hunt.
Yeah, exactly right, and that's why whenever we see a Hecarim pick and we see a Sivir getting picked alongside it, it gets us excited because it's this combination that you think about that just goes in hand in Wild Rift, and we're gonna see it here being manned by EDG. On the other side though, for Trace Esports, they kind of tried to remedy some of the mistakes that they had in the previous game where they let go too much of the early game pressure. Now they have a Renekton, they have a Vi. Vi and Renekton is going to be really strong on the 2v2s, especially if the Vi is able to hit her abilities. Ezreal, a lot stronger in the early game as compared to before because of the shorter cooldown on the Mystic Shot, allowing him to trade more effectively. Although it's going to be against a Sivir who can just shove him out of lane, but at least in these level 1 fights, if the Ezreal and the Ornn gets a bit of an advantage in the bot side, they do have kill pressure against the Sivir.
They definitely do. Sivir is one of the squishiest champion, if not one of the squishiest champion, all throughout the game, right? It's very susceptible to a lot of these damages early on, so that could be something that Trace Esports could bank on into these early game fights. And as you have mentioned, right, if Trace Esports could look into getting an opportunity, getting a loophole wherein they could optimize a situation and get the kill onto the Sivir, that will be something of an amazing feat for the likes of Trace. And that's the thing, right? EDG expectedly will play it safe into the bottom lane.
Yeah, they should play it safe until they're able to rotate around the Sivir to the mid lane, because that is going to be the main job right now. The Sivir, apart from using her ultimate to enable her team to be faster, to have more morale, to have more AD, she also has the designation of wave clear. She's like the janitor when it comes to marksman. She's really good at cleaning up the mess that creeps just have around the map, and that's gonna be her job later on. So if EDG can just hang on and not let Trace Esports get any key ganks in this early game, they'll be set when it comes to the mid game. And because of that, we have to put a lot of attention on where Hueba is positioning himself. He is spotted on the wards. At least EDG knows that Hueba right now is clearing that scuttle crab in the bot side.
Yeah, that will give information for EDG. That's why they placed a ward onto the Tribrush into the bot side of the map.
5.
So Hueba will be seen if the wave will be pushing in very slowly, this will not be where Hueba goes for engage, and that's pretty much it. Just goes in for the reset, be time efficient when it comes to clear, especially considering on how EDG overall team fight wise has a massive advantage up against Trace.
Yeah, definitely. They have a lot more tools to be able to make full use of their composition. Hueba now rotating towards the top side of the map. Another strong side that they could have. If they hit Xiaozhang here, this could be it.
Wow, that ward just spotted Hueba. Immediate back away by Xjang. Very clever move there.
Yeah, kind of the sixth sense of the Baron laners, but also due to the information that they had. Awarded the Tribush in the bot side, spotted out the Vi. They saw her recalling, so you kind of have a sense of the timing of when the jungler might head to the top side. Honestly, it was a bit too close, the timing that Xang had right there, but it was just enough for him to be able to spot out the Vi and get out of that situation scot-free.
And surprisingly, Hueba, or well rather, Hecarim for the side of EDG has not been doing visits into any lanes this far. It was only Hueba who paid a visit on top side of the map and even bot side of the map, which is very interesting to see. Onto the jungle of EDG, just starts up the fight onto the shadows. The fears onto Hueba. The CC chain is flawless, and that will be EDG who takes the jungler down along with his support. Double kill immediately, and EDG bought themselves a huge amount of advantage as Tsao will be the next target. The flash knock up will not connect. 0711 though overextending, might just be the death of him there as Ignite takes him down to 1 HP.
Yeah, he gets sick down to 1 HP, but does stay alive. This Hecarim is just too tanky at that point. But True Shot Barrage? No, I think it's gone by the time this hits, but it might. It gets
one a shot from Yusa.
Yeah, one shot from Yusa, and great job right there from Trace Esports' marksman to have the presence of mind to hit the Hecarim as he was low. I do hope we see a replay of the fight earlier, because a lot of things that could break down as well from that fight. But the main point was, it was EDG punishing the invade coming in from Hueba. When Hueba was channeling the Vault Breaker, he wasn't able to let it go to hit the Hecarim, taking out a huge part of the damage from Vi, because Vi usually maxes out the Vault Breaker. That takes out a lot of her kit, especially in the early games. If you take that out, her burst is nullified essentially in these early fights. So good job right there from EDG, taking advantage of a small micro mistake coming in from Hueba.
Yeah, and that will be a trade back where Trace Esports wanted to go for that. In addition to getting that kill, it was Yusa who got the major share, if not the only share of gold coming in from that elimination. So really, really good stuff there coming from Trace Esports. EDG knows and gets information of their Rift Herald being taken down by Trace Esports in similar fashion. Tack is there as well to face check. So it's a 1-for-1 objective trade.
One for an objective trade. EDG getting what they need, a scaling objective, which is gonna be the Dragon, while Herald is secured here by Trace Esports. I do want to see them putting a lot more of their members here in the mid lane, trying to pressure both the Sivir and the Nautilus. Maybe just rotating this, maybe rotating just the Vladimir just one time here, get a bit more damage in the tower, because just a couple more hits toward the tower along with the Herald would put it down.
Now the stuns onto Xjang, answer back will not be there, but typical Baron laner. Right? They're not going for the all-in. Even if they do, no one's gonna die. That's pretty much the storyline of something.
Yeah, it's the classic wet noodle fight at the top side. Although it's not tanks v tanks anymore. It's no longer Gary in the top side versus Darius just hitting each other. Now we have the Bruisers, which gets a bit more exciting sometimes.
Rift Herald spawned into the mid lane already. That could be the Tower's Blood for the side of Trace Esports. But the deny is there, so EDG still have that chance to get a huge chunk of gold from the Tower's Blood. They just have to defend the mid lane.
Yeah. Oh, actually Trace Esports transitioning that mid lane play towards the bot side of the map. It has been a recall for the Zeri, but Xiaozhang trying to pressure.
We'll be able to go for that pressure, but opted to clear down the wave and deny the possible takedown of turret for Trace Esports in the bottom lane. And thus far, EDG holding still. 0711 showed up. Still no information for Lee Sao, but priority will be onto the Rift Scuttle instead.
This game oddly feels like game 1, but with roles reverse, right? It's EDG now playing Trace Esports' game from game 1, but with just a bit more flair coming up from the members of EDG, because they do have the Aatrox, they do have the Sivir as well as the Nautilus. Can do a lot of the ones who's playing EDG in game 1, but now topside.
Lee Sao in danger. 0711 pushed them back. Lee Sao wants to get an even trade, but with 4 members up top, not gonna happen. And EDG got themselves a 3rd kill of the game, and Korn putting down pressure into the bot side of the map here. 35 HP left for that turret. XJam will lose their tier 1 in the bottom lane, and Korn comes back out unscathed.
Yeah. Korn just playing a bit with XJang in the bot side of the map, but we're gonna see the replay here in the top side. It was a stock standard dive coming here from EDG, and immediate exhaust as well on Lee Sao, preventing a lot of damage coming down on Yo. And just 0711 in just a good position on the flank to push him toward away from the tower, giving another kill in favor for EDG. But we also saw earlier on the live feed that Trace Esports was able to get a third in the bot side. So in terms of objectives so far, Trace Esports has been on the advantage. That's why we do see them leading in the gold, but that is standing gold right now. EDG, if they take it down, they can take this gold back towards them. And with the composition that they have, the scaling that these champions like the Zeri, like the Sivir have, if they're able to take down these turrets, they will be able to make use of the gold very effectively for those champions.
Very effectively indeed. Right now will be Trace Esports, who have to wait quite a bit for their Ezreal and for their Vladimir to be able to scale, because if they put down pressure, EDG at this stage pretty much has that massive advantage, especially when it comes to those team fightings. If they capitalize onto their Sivirs on their hunt utility from EDG, that will be something of a big detriment for trades.
For Ezreal's right, we in an ideal scenario, he gets online at about like the 10 to 11 minute mark. He completes his Muramana as well as his Triforce, giving him a huge damage spike compared to other champions in the game, because the combination of the Sheen proc as well as the Muramana just deals such a huge amount of burst damage, especially when he's poking the champions down. And this could very well be the time here for Trace Esports as they start out this Dragon.
Grand Line connect. But that is tank. A very tanky support for Trace Esports. Right now, the onset of Shadows connected onto Vi. There's no more jungler left for Trace. Weibo got deleted. The follow through as Renekton falls down. It's a 5v3, and that is not something that Trace Esports can handle, but they still removed 0711.
Yeah, that was a very chunky true shot barrage right there, but 07 still in the area.
Youngby, branch line into the backside. I remember it is 0711 who is using the Hecarim. Aatrox is just on the front of it all. This will not be something that Trace Esports can handle. That will be EDG securing the Infernal Drake.
That was an overextension from Trace Esports. You already mentioned that they were only 3 members while EDG still had 5. They had no right to stick around in that dragon. They had no right to challenge EDG because they didn't have the members. As we go back into this replay, right, it was Yusa trying to make use of the poke from the Ezreal, but EDG having a lot more strength in their composition, these balled up kind of fights with both Yo and Alone untouched. They're free to hit the members of Trace Esports, which deleted a lot of their members. Yes, they took down the Aatrox with the true shot barrage. That was a very hype moment, but they were still at the numbers disadvantage. They did not have a right to challenge the Drake right there.
Yeah, and Trace Esports, if it was a couple of more time to be able to take the tier 1 turret on top side of the map, Tap and Yusa could follow suit right after to support Renekton, but EDG now on a 1k gold lead in game 3.
Yeah. EDG having a gold lead with a composition that should be stronger when it comes to the 15-18 minute mark, when we get towards these like third Drakes as well as the Baron buff. And now at Dragon Soul Point, securing 2 Drakes of the game, also having a gold lead in a stronger late game scaling composition is a very dangerous position for Trace Esports. Yes, there is ways for Trace Esports to win fights. They still have the Vladimir, who also scales really well in terms of damage. If you're able to catch both the Zeri and the Sivir in a position where you throw all of the damage on the Vladimir, that is an immediate win fight for Trace Esports. But with how well these teams have been playing, on how high the skill caliber is for both of these teams, it's gonna be hard for you to find those opportunities.
Definitely would be. At the moment, both these teams are just playing towards the top side of the map. Look how EDG is placing their champions onto more towards the top side of the map with you in 0711 hovering onto the same location. You also have the Sivir and the Nautilus into the mid lane as well, so as ever comes down to they could easily come forth towards top side.
Yeah, great answer right now. Actually, top side, there was some aggression starting out from Trace Esports. There's a lot of members here. Could be a big fight.
Oh god, knock up onto 0711. Got deleted immediately. EDG, no more jungler left. Now Langi wants to answer back. Weiba is in danger. Vault Breaker to be able to come back away. Trace Esports, huge value from that fight.
Yeah, huge value. Just going for a 50-50 fight right there, which they have definitely won. Getting the support, getting the jungler actually from EDG, taking away any of that Baron pressure. Now Trace Esports is the one who's positioning on this Baron. They're most likely going to use this more as a bait, as EDG is slowly trying to see if Trace Esports is there. But the ward will spot them, but they haven't started that objective yet. In terms of the advantage, not a huge advantage for Trace Esports as of yet, because that was still only 1 kill for them. They didn't take down the tower, didn't take down the Baron. It's not going to be a big turning point, but at least that's signs of life from Trace Esports, trying to claw themselves back from the deficit that EDG has put upon them.
Right now, everyone's going to have to play it a bit more safely. We have to remember that EDG already has 2 dragons. They have the Ice Drake, they have the Infernal Drake. And the thing about that is Ocean Drake is going to come out soon enough, in a couple of seconds into this matchup. So EDG has to prioritize the Ocean Drake to get the soul, and Trace Esports has to contest it.
Yeah, and that's going to be the big point of contention, right? The 3rd Drake to prevent the soul to EDG, to not allow EDG to scale even further into this game. It's also something that EDG might be able to use, because they have 2 marksmen. They will be able to burn the Baron so fast. If Trace Esports put too much attention towards the dragon, they might just be able to sneak a Baron. So there's a lot of things at play right here, a lot of decisions EDG can do, but now they're looking for a fight here in the Dragon Pit as the dragon spawns.
They are looking for it. Ocean Drake now being started already by EDG. Wait, but just on the horizon as well. Could go for the contest as easy as they could. Call to fourth shot already used. EDG got the Ocean Drake. They get the soul, and Trace Esports is on the back foot already. Renekton wanted to access onto Alone, but will not be able to do so. And now the on the hunt is active. So much mobility onto EDG's side, and Alone going into the front lines, but Weiba came back in. An elimination for the side of Trace Esports. A 2-for-3 trade, but EDG still gets the soul.
Yeah, fight was very, very close for both of these teams, but Trace Esports does get into a winning position. They're now starting the Baron. They have a jungler. EDG doesn't have one, so the smite is going to be in favor here of Trace Esports.
Now X-Jang goes in. Sky's Boom gets information with half HP across the board for Trace. They cannot pursue for the Baron.
Yeah, they were too low. They went they left the Baron on its own, just putting it down to half HP. But let's look at the replay right here on this Dragon Soul fight. It was 0711 who was able to get the smite off at 797 HP. That was such a clutch smite from him. And as the fight went on, Trace Esports was the one who was able to put down more damage on EDG. Alone and Yua weren't able to free hit as much because they were on the other side of the wall, while Trace Esports was farther away. It looked like it was actually going to be an even fight, but now we're going back to live. Baron's being started.
Baron being started by Trace. EDG has information, but there is no ward. As soon as I said that, they placed it down. Weiba with Wolf Breaker onto Langui. He has the ultimates ready, but Trace Esports has to go out, not commit onto the Baron, given how EDG putting pressure onto them.
Yeah. Now there's a lot of pressure
Hard.
going in.
Jumps in with a propel flash along with a second pull. There's just so much damage, and Langui brought down to 1 HP. 0711 has also needs to go back into that fight. And right now, it will be a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, it's a 1-for-1 trade, but we saw right there the difference in the compositions between Trace Esports and EDG. We kept lauding the late game prowess of the composition that EDG has because they have two marksmen. Sivir and Zeri will output lots of damage in an ideal scenario. But if Trace Esports is the one to go in for these fights, they're the ones to initiate, they have a lot of advantage on their hands.
Xjang going for the overextension. This is not that good. They have to force out the World Ender along with a flash as well. But 0711 comes into fray. The wall be Vladimir deleted. And Tak and Yusa has to retreat. They have to go back as EDG just jumps in with a dirt dive. And Korn will follow suit. Renekton will go down. EDG gets themselves 2 kills.
Yeah, EDG turning things around, taking the kills away from Trace Esports. A crucial mistiming right there from Yusa, almost hitting the Mystic Shot on the Aatrox. But Langui, a bit of a no man's land here.
He's left on his own some, but right now 0711 comes in and joins the party as Xjang CC's down Hueba. No escape. Elder Dragon will be open.
Elder Dragon be taken here by EDG. Trace Esports can't get even close to it. Xiaozhang and Langui just bodyguarding themselves, putting themselves in front of the members of Trace Esports. They can't even get close. Elder Drake is the one that has been secured right there by EDG, and Baron now is on the table for them.
Baron is open for them. And Trace Esports, if they leave this open, it will be EDG who will have the Elder Drake along with the Baron buff. The combo of massive buffs for EDG side, that will be a huge detriment for Trace Esports, and given how Hueba still needs a couple of seconds to come back in, EDG gets 2 out of 2 objectives.
And they have everything. They have all of the Drakes, they have the Soul, they have Elder Dragon, as well as the Baron. This is a very strong EDG lineup that Trace Esports will be fighting against, and we have seen signs of life from Trace Esports. The damage coming out from both Korn and Yusa are massive when hitting on the carries of EDG. But right now, oh no, going in.
Hueba denied off that cease and desist, but still it will be EDG who loses alone. It will be a 1-for-1 trade with Vladimir removed, but EDG still holding strong. They have so much to stay in their draft composition. Now Xjang's on the chase onto Yusa with Langui following up as well. The Elder Drake buffs, goes for the execute, and EDG gets the ace as they look to end the game. Nexus will be open for them, and EDG will get the 3rd game in the series.
EDG takes the lead in this best of 7 series, 2-1 against Trace Esports, and that last fight was a quadra kill as well for the Zeri, and such a great game played by both of these teams. EDG